Listen closely, because what I'm about to say might change how you see your life forever. Nobody is coming to save you. Not your friends, not your family, not the world. And once you truly understand that, something powerful happens. You stop waiting and you start becoming. See, too many people are sitting on the sidelines of their own destiny, hoping someone will show up and fix it, hoping the timing gets better, hoping the fear goes away, hoping the pain fades on its own. But hope without action is just another excuse in a nicer suit. Let me tell you something real. Life doesn't hand you strength. It demands it from you. Every setback, every rejection, every lonely night, every closed door. That's not life trying to stop you. That's life asking, how bad do you want it? You weren't built to be rescued. You were built to rise. You were built to adapt. You were built to stand up when it hurts, to move forward when it's heavy, and to stay focused when everything around you is trying to distract you. So if you're waiting for someone to push you, stop. If you're waiting for permission, cancel it. If you're waiting for perfect conditions, forget it. This is your moment. This is your responsibility. This is your life. And the second you stop asking who's going to save you is the second you start saving yourself. Self-responsibility is the doorway to real power, because the moment you accept that your life is in your hands, everything changes. Not in a motivational quote way, but in a real, uncomfortable, and transformative way. Before responsibility, you live in reaction. After responsibility, you live in direction. You stop asking what the world owes you and start asking what you're willing to build. That shift alone separates people who stay stuck from people who rise. When you take responsibility, you stop outsourcing your future. You no longer blame your past, your parents, your circumstances, your boss, the system, or the timing. You recognize that while you didn't choose everything that happened to you, you choose what happens next. And that choice is power. Real power isn't loud, flashy, or dramatic. It's quiet. It shows up early. It stays late. It does the work when nobody is watching and keeps going when nobody is clapping. Self-responsibility also means you stop waiting to feel ready. You move even when you're scared. You train even when you're tired. You study even when you'd rather scroll. You don't need perfect conditions because you become the condition. You stop saying one day and start saying day one. That's how momentum is born. A lot of people want confidence, but they don't want the process that builds it. Confidence doesn't come from hype. It comes from keeping promises to yourself. Every time you do what you said you would do, you gain a little more trust in yourself. And self-trust is the foundation of self-respect. When you respect yourself, your standards rise. When your standards rise, your life follows. Taking responsibility also forces you to face your weaknesses without running from them. Instead of pretending you're fine, you get honest. You look at your habits, your excuses, your distractions. You stop saying that's just how I am and start asking, how can I grow? That question alone puts you in control again. Power isn't about controlling other people. It's about controlling your reactions, your time, your focus, and your effort. When you take responsibility, you stop being emotionally hijacked by every comment, every delay, every setback. You become steadier, sharper, more intentional. And here's the truth most people avoid. Nobody is coming to give you permission to be great. You have to authorize your own growth. You have to decide that your life is worth the discipline, the discomfort, and the consistency it takes to become who you know you can be. Because the moment you fully accept that your future is your responsibility, is the moment you step through the doorway to real power. Waiting for rescue delays your destiny, because every moment you spend hoping someone else will change your life is a moment you're not changing it yourself. It feels safe to wait, comfortable. You tell yourself the timing isn't right, the money isn't there, the support isn't strong enough, the confidence isn't ready yet. But deep down, you know that waiting is just fear wearing patience as a disguise. Rescue thinking puts your power in other people's hands. You start believing that your breakthrough depends on a phone call, an opportunity, a connection, or a miracle. And while opportunities matter, they don't mean anything if you're not prepared to move when they show up. Most people don't miss success because it never comes. They miss it because they're not ready when it does. When you wait to be saved, you stop building yourself. You stop sharpening your skills. You stop strengthening your mind. You stop developing the discipline that actually carries you through hard seasons. You start living in potential instead of progress. And potential without action is just another way of staying stuck. Destiny isn't something that arrives at your door. It's something you walk toward, slowly, relentlessly, sometimes painfully. It's built in the mornings you don't feel like getting up, in the workouts you want to skip, in the studying you'd rather avoid, in the habits you form when no one is watching and no one is praising you. A lot of people say they're waiting for motivation, but motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. What builds destiny is commitment. Commitment to your growth. Commitment to your craft. Commitment to your standards. You don't rise when you feel inspired. You rise when you decide you're done making excuses. Waiting also trains your mind to believe you are powerless. You start to see yourself as someone who needs saving instead of someone who can build. And that mindset slowly shrinks your vision. You stop aiming high because you don't believe you can get there on your own. So you settle. You lower your expectations. You call survival success. But the truth is, nobody ever built a great life by sitting still. Nobody ever became strong by hoping things would get easier. Strength comes from choosing to move even when the road is unclear, even when the results aren't immediate, even when the support is minimal. Your destiny doesn't respond to wishes. It responds to work. It responds to consistency. It responds to the version of you that shows up when it's hard, when it's lonely, when it's slow. And the longer you wait for someone to save you, the longer your real life waits for you to start it. Discipline beats motivation every time, because motivation is a feeling and feelings are unreliable. Some days you wake up fired up, ready to conquer the world. Other days you wake up tired, heavy, distracted, or doubting yourself. If your progress depends on how you feel, your results will always be inconsistent. Discipline is what carries you on the days your emotions don't. Motivation asks, do I feel like it? Discipline asks, what needs to be done? That's the difference between people who dream and people who build. Motivation is loud at the beginning. It's exciting, emotional, and full of energy. But it fades. Discipline is quiet. It doesn't need hype. It just shows up and works. When you rely on motivation, you only move when it's easy. When you rely on discipline, you move even when it's hard. That's where growth lives. In the resistance, in the boredom, in the repetition, in doing the same right things over and over until they become part of who you are. Discipline is choosing long-term respect over short-term comfort. It's training when you'd rather rest, studying when you'd rather scroll, saving when you'd rather spend, speaking up when you'd rather stay quiet. It's not glamorous, but it's powerful. It shapes your identity one decision at a time. Every time you act with discipline, you send yourself a message, I can trust me. And that self-trust becomes your backbone. You stop negotiating with your excuses. You stop lying to yourself. You stop waiting to feel ready. You become ready by acting. People think discipline is punishment, but it's actually freedom. When you're disciplined, your life stops being controlled by impulses, moods, and distractions. You gain control over your time, your habits, your direction. You stop reacting to life and start leading it. The world is full of talented people who never became consistent, full of smart people who never became disciplined, full of potential that never turned into progress. Not because they weren't capable, but because they kept waiting for the right feeling instead of building the right habits. Discipline is built in small moments. When you hit the snooze button or get up. When you choose water over soda. When you read one page instead of none. When you take one step instead of standing still. Those small choices stack. They compound. They shape your future. You don't need more motivation. You need stronger standards. Standards for how you show up, how you speak to yourself, how you handle pressure, how you use your time. Because when your emotions fail you, discipline will carry you forward. Your pain can become your training ground because struggle is not just something you survive, it's something you can use. Most people run from discomfort. They numb it, avoid it, or pretend it doesn't exist. But the people who grow the most are the ones who turn their pain into purpose. They don't waste their suffering. They study it. They learn from it. They let it shape them instead of break them. Pain gets your attention in a way comfort never will. When everything is easy, you don't change much. You stay the same. But when life hits you, when something falls apart, when you feel disappointed, rejected, or lost, that's when you're forced to look at yourself. Your habits, your mindset, your choices. Pain exposes where you're weak, where you're unprepared, and where you've been avoiding growth. If you treat pain like an enemy, you'll always try to escape it. But if you treat it like a teacher, you start asking better questions. What is this trying to show me? What do I need to strengthen? What do I need to let go of? That's how pain becomes training. Not by feeling good, but by making you more aware. Every setback carries a lesson. Every failure carries feedback. Every heartbreak, loss, or disappointment carries a message about what needs to change inside you. The problem is, most people want the results without the refining process. They want strength without resistance, wisdom without experience, confidence without scars. Training is never comfortable. In the gym, your muscles grow by tearing and rebuilding. In life, your character grows the same way. Through pressure, through mistakes, through moments where you feel small and have to decide if you're going to quit or get better. When you stop seeing yourself as a victim of pain and start seeing yourself as a student of it, everything shifts. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this building in me? That mindset alone turns obstacles into tools. Pain can sharpen your focus. It can make you more disciplined, more aware, more intentional. It can teach you empathy. It can teach you patience. It can teach you how strong you really are when you have no choice but to keep going. The people you admire most didn't avoid pain. They went through it. They got knocked down. They doubted themselves. They struggled. But they used those moments as fuel instead of excuses. They trained in the dark so they could stand in the light. You don't get to choose whether life challenges you, but you do get to choose what kind of person those challenges create. You can let pain make you bitter, or you can let it make you better. Because when you stop wasting your pain and start using it, your struggle turns into strength, and your wounds turn into wisdom. Focus turns potential into results, because potential by itself is just a promise, not a performance. Everyone has talent. Everyone has ideas. Everyone has something inside them that could become great. But without focus, that greatness stays trapped in your head instead of showing up in your life. Focus is what takes all that raw ability and points it in one clear direction. When you're focused, you stop chasing everything and start building something. You stop jumping from goal to goal, from plan to plan, from dream to dream. You choose one path and you walk it with intention. That's where real progress begins. Not in doing more things, but in doing the right things consistently. A distracted mind is busy but not effective. You can be working all day and still moving nowhere if your energy is scattered. Focus gathers your time, your attention, and your effort into one sharp edge. And when your edge is sharp, every action cuts deeper into your future. Focus also protects your momentum. When you know what you're after, you don't get pulled into every opinion, every trend, every shortcut, every comparison. You stop looking left and right and start looking forward. You stop measuring your life against other people's timelines and start respecting your own. A lot of people lose their potential not because they're weak, but because they're unfocused. They try to build 5 lives at once. They start 10 things and finish none. They confuse movement with progress. But progress only happens when you commit your attention to one direction long enough for it to compound. Focus makes you disciplined with your time. You stop wasting hours on things that don't move you closer to your goals. You become more intentional about what you watch, what you listen to, who you surround yourself with, and what you give your energy to. Your standards rise because your vision is clear. When you're focused, you also learn faster. You improve quicker. You see mistakes as feedback instead of failure. You refine your craft instead of abandoning it. You stay in the process long enough for the results to catch up to your effort. Potential is everywhere. Results are rare. And the difference between the two is not luck, not talent, not background. It's focus. Focus is what turns dreams into discipline, ideas into habits, effort into outcomes. Your life will always move in the direction of what you consistently focus on. If you focus on excuses, you'll get stuck. If you focus on problems, you'll stay overwhelmed. But if you focus on growth, action, and progress, your life has no choice but to level up. You don't need more ability. You don't need more chances. You don't need more motivation. You need clearer focus and stronger commitment to what matters most to you. Because when your focus is locked in, your potential finally has somewhere to go. So if this message hit your heart and helped your mindset, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.